If you will stay close to nature, to its simplicity, to the small things hardly noticeable, those things can unexpectedly become great and immeasurable. Bittersweet, near Bremen, 16th of July, 1903. About 10 days ago I left Paris, suffering and tired, and rode into a large northern plain. Its expanse, its quiet, and its sky are to restore my health. But I entered the region during a long rain that has not until today let up a bit over this restless, drifting land. I am using this first moment of brightness to greet you, my dear friends. My dear Mr. Kappus, I have had a letter of yours here for a long time, awaiting my answer. Not that I had forgotten. It's to the contrary. It is the kind that one reads again when one finds it among others. I singled yours out to read, and you seemed so very near. It was a letter of May 2nd. You surely remember it. When I read it, as I am doing now, in the immense silence of this distant land, your beautiful concern about life touches me even more than it did in Paris, where everything seems strange and one's impressions seem to tremble and fade into the terrible noise all around. Here, surrounded by a powerful land over which the winds travel from the seas, here I feel that no man can answer those questions of yours and explain those feelings that in their depths have a life of their own. Even the best writers can err in their expressions when they are asked to interpret the faintest of impulses and that which is beyond words. Nevertheless, I do believe you need not be left without answers if you will cling to the things resembling those that are now rejuvenating me. If you will stay close to nature, to its simplicity, to the small things hardly noticeable, those things can unexpectedly become great and immeasurable. If you will love what seems to be insignificant, and will, in an unassuming manner, as a servant, seek to win the confidence of what seems poor, then everything will become easier, more harmonious, and somehow more consolatory, not for your intellect, that will most likely remain behind astonished, but for your innermost consciousness, your awakeness, and your inner knowing. You are so young. You stand before beginnings. I would like to beg of you, dear friends, as well as I can, to have patience with everything that remains unsolved in your hearts. Try to love the questions themselves. Like locked rooms and like books written in a foreign language, do not now look for the answers. They cannot be given to you because you could not live them. It is a question of experiencing everything. At present, you need to live the question. Perhaps you will gradually, without even noticing it, find yourself experiencing the answer some distant day. Perhaps you are indeed carrying within yourself the potential to visualize, to design, and to create for yourself an utterly satisfying, joyful, and pure lifestyle. Discipline yourself to attain it, but accept that which comes to you with deep trust, and as long as it comes from your own will, from your own inner need, accept it, and do not hate anything. To cope with sexuality is difficult. Yes, but everything assigned to us is a challenge. Nearly everything that matters is a challenge, and everything matters. If you would only recognize that, and come to the place where you would strive on your own to finally gain your very own relationship with sexuality, always keeping aware of your native bent and your personality and your own experience, your childhood and your strengths, then you need no longer fear losing yourself and becoming unworthy of your sexuality, your most precious possession. Physical lust is a sensuous experience, no different from innocently viewing something, or from the feeling of pure delight when a wonderful ripe fruit fills the tongue. It is a glorious, infinite experience granted us, a gift of knowledge from the world, the fullness and radiance of all-knowing. It is not bad that we welcome it. What is bad is that almost all misuse and waste it. They set it out as a lure in dreary places of their lives and use it as a distraction rather than as a focus on great heights. Man has also transformed eating into something else. Lack on the one hand and excess on the other have clouded the clarity of this basic need. Similarly, cloudy have become all the deep and simple human needs in which life renews itself. But the individual can clarify them for himself and can live that clarity, as long as he is not too dependent on others, as long as he has a pact with aloneness. We can recall all of the beauty in animals and plants is a silent and enduring form of love and longing. We can see the animal just as we perceive the plant, patiently and willingly uniting, multiplying and growing, not from physical desire, not from physical grief, rather from adapting to what has to be. That existing order transcends desire and grief and is mightier than will and resistance. The earth is full of this secret down to her smallest things. Oh, that we would only receive this secret more humbly, bear it more earnestly, endure it, and feel how awesomely difficult it is, rather than to take it lightly. Oh, that we might hold in reverence our fertility, which is but one, even if it seems to be either spiritual or physical. Spiritual creativity originates from the physical. They are of the same essence. Only spiritual creativity is a gentler, more blissful, and more enduring repetition of physical desire and satisfaction. The desire to be a creator, to give birth, to guide the growth process, is nothing without its constant materialization in the world, nothing without the 1,000-fold consent of things and animals. Its enjoyment is so indescribably beautiful and rich only because it is filled with the inherited memories of millions of instances of procreation and births. In one thought of procreation, 1,000 forgotten nights of love are resurrected, and that thought is fulfilled in grandeur and sublimity. They who meet in the night to be entwined and sway in passionate lust are performing a serious work. They are gathering sweets and depth and power for the song of some future poet who shall arise and speak of unspeakable bliss. They beg the future to wait to become the present, and they blindly embrace, believing their wish. Even so, they are mistaken. The future does come. A new human being arises due to the law of nature. A strong, resistant seed forces itself to the ovum that draws it willingly to itself. Do not allow yourself to be misled by the surfaces of things. In the great depths, all becomes law. They who live this mystery badly and ineffectually, and there are many, lose it only for themselves. Even so, they pass it on like a sealed letter without knowing it. Do not be misled by the great number of names and the complexity of cases. Perhaps there is overall a great motherhood expressed as mutual longing. The beauty of a virgin, a being that, as you so aptly say, has not yet accomplished anything, is motherhood having a presentiment of itself, is in preparation, and has fears and longings. The beauty of that mother is that of a serving motherhood, and within the aged one there dwells an awesome memory. Within the man, motherhood exists also, it seems to me, both physical and spiritual. His part in procreation is also a type of giving birth, and giving birth it is when he draws strength from his innermost abundance. Perhaps the sexes are more closely related than one would think. Perhaps the great renewal of the world will consist of this, that man and woman, freed of all confused feelings and desires, shall no longer seek each other as opposites, but simply as members of a family and neighbors, and will unite as human beings. In order to simply, earnestly, patiently, and jointly bear the heavy responsibility of sexuality that has been entrusted to them. But he who has a pact with aloneness can even now prepare the way for all of this that in the future may well be possible for many, and can build with hands less apt to err. Therefore, dear friends, embrace your solitude and love it. Endure the pain it causes and try to sing out with it. For those near to you are distant, you say. That shows it is beginning to dawn around you. There is an expanse opening about you. And when your nearness becomes distant, then you have already expanded far to being among the stars. Your horizon has widened greatly. Rejoice in your growth. No one can join you in that. Be good to those who stay behind, and be quiet and confident in their presence. Do not torment them with your doubts, and do not shock them with your confidence or your joy, which they cannot understand. Try to establish with them a simple, sincere, mutual feeling of communion that need not change if you yourself change. Love the life that is theirs, although different from yours. Be considerate of aging persons, for they fear the very aloneness in which you place your trust. Avoid adding substance to those dramas always unleashed between parents and children. These encounters cause the children to expend much energy and consume the love of their elders. Even so, their love is warm and has its effects, although it does not understand. Believe, however, in a love that will be safely kept for you as a legacy and a trust, and trust that in there is a power and a blessing. You do not have to leave its presence in order to make very great strides ahead. It is good that you're settling into a career that will make you independent, and that you will be relying completely on yourself in every sense. Wait patiently to see if your inner life feels restricted by the conditions of this career. I take it to be very difficult and very demanding, since it is burdened with many conventions, hardly allowing your personal interpretation of its designated duties. However, your pact with aloneness will be your support and solace, even in the midst of unfamiliar situations. It is through that aloneness that you will find all your paths. All my wishes are prepared to accompany you, and so will my trust in you. Yours, Ranier Maria Rilke.